This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Hello and welcome to the iRacing Esports Network and the dynamic Simracersworld GT series presented by Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick and alongside me this evening is Marco Barbanir. We're here at sunny Imola, a classic Grand Prix circuit, of course, Marco, a circuit that you have visited in the past for an F1 event. It was a snooze fest, it must be said, but it is still an absolute classic in the world of motorsports, and despite, of course, featuring many changes over the years, it's still one of the drivers' absolute favourites.
Absolutely. Buonasera a tutti. Buonasera Sam. Fantastic to be here in Imola. As you know, I am excited, but more than usual when we come to Imola or Monza, and certainly the weather is playing its part. Unlike what's happening in real life, if you saw the FIA Motorsport games during the weekend, the bad weather was all over the country, but and today still it's a pretty miserable couple of days here in Italy, weather-wise, but in Sim at least we have a beautiful day, and an Imola racetrack which gives us the round number 10 of the season, and we start the night by saying that we have a big surprise because Martin van Loosenhoorn is under the weather and won't be taking part in this race. So a big chance. Of course, we wish Martin a speedy recovery. Big chance for all the other drivers to break their duck in this season.
Yeah, absolutely. In the first 9 rounds of the championship, Van Loosenhoorn has won every single one of them. It's been utter domination from him, and bar a couple of rounds, Monza he didn't lead in the early stages. Sebring, you could argue that he wasn't the fastest driver on that day. I believe it was Chris Warner, who we're just watching right now. He put up a very good fight against him at Sebring. Apart from that, he has been absolutely flawless, and at Kota last week, he won by about 30 seconds, over 30 seconds, absolute domination. But like you said, Marco, it does open the door for a few other drivers, and we saw some of the best racers last season come when there was an opportunity for other guys to have a real chance at winning. So this will be a very interesting round, no doubt, round a circuit that these drivers should know decently well. Of course, a track that was only added to iRacing a couple of years ago, but it certainly was a very welcome addition, and we do visit here quite often. Another driver who isn't here is Ian Reitz, who, if anyone doesn't know, he got married on Saturday, and it looked like a very good day. And if Ian is watching, we hope that he's having a fantastic honeymoon, and hopefully the wedding was very good as well. It certainly looked it. So special thanks to him, of course, the league organizer, the man that makes all this possible. And also a special thanks to all those who have filled his very big shoes in the past couple of weeks and going into next week as well, of course. But we are currently in qualifying, 20-minute qualifying session, 6 minutes in so far. And at the moment, at the very top is PJ Clayson's 300ths of a second ahead of Kevin van der Slick.
Yes, and you can see there are some changes this week. Fine, we have all the nice and beautiful liveries. And one of the changes you might have spotted right away, of course, is PJ Clayson's making the jump from Alpine Simsport to Meraki Racing. And that Meraki Ferrari, I have to say, looks really beautiful. And we, you know, two Ferraris in the front of the field as of this moment, in front of the Mercedes of Tom Mettrell, then Dion Phillips, and then Neil Cooper for Fury Simsport in P5. Qualifying, Sam, of course, super important around this place because we know how difficult it is to make overtakes.
Yeah, definitely one of the more important qualifyings of the season. And there's just not an easy place to overtake around here. It's such a narrow circuit that there's not an area where you can't really defend at any point. Also, the run down to, of course, the run down to turn one, probably the best opportunity, especially since they got rid of the chicane many years ago. And you do get a lot of speed up there. Can get a nice slipstream effect, but like I said, extremely now. It's quite simple for the driver ahead to cover off. In terms of the weather out here today, of course, anyone who isn't familiar with iRacing, the hotter, the less grip, pretty much. So track temperature is 35 degrees, not too bad, Marco. And this is probably what they predicted. However, we are starting in the morning, 9:41 in the morning, and so it could get a bit warmer.
Yeah, I don't think the inhabitants of the beautiful town of Imola will be very happy with this, as we say hello with the Stewards Knight, Peter Growls, as per usual, and a welcome return in Bart Delman. So back to Stewart crew, and we are waiting for their decisions. You will be able to catch them on the screen as the night goes on. So with 12 minutes left in the session. Seems like the two Ferraris at the front have a decent pace, but look at Chris Warner now. The top three are in 0.050 between each other. The three of them, I'd say. So very, very close battling. You could sense how important for these drivers the pole position is going to be. And we still have 12 minutes of this, so there are still plenty of chances. You can get quite a good number of laps under your belt in this short period of time.
Yeah, definitely plenty of opportunities for Jazz. Anyone who doesn't know, of course, 10 minutes qualifying last season opened up a little bit for this season. Gives a little bit more of a representative grid, a few less surprises down the order, which is quite welcome, I imagine, for the Jazz. It's good to have everyone in pace order. Slightly less first lap collisions that way. So, yeah, should be able to get absolutely everything out of the car. Yeah, not too long a circuit this. So, should have plenty of opportunities. Ruben Van Buell, of course, always a driver who's there or thereabouts, or certainly best of the rest quite often. A few podiums so far this season. He's currently sitting in a little bit further down the order, 10th place in the standings, but has missed a couple of rounds. So maybe with the drop scores, that could help him. But in the top of the championship, of course, is Martin van Loosenau, Kevin van Slick in second, and Chris Warner in third place. Very close between van Slick and Warner, second place in that gold category. In the silver category, we've got Nick Sherman's now leading the way. That's pretty much ebbed and flowed for the entire season. He takes the lead off Ingmar Anderson. Those two a little bit ahead now of Jeremy Hessels. It looks like it's going to be a three-way battle for that title. And in the bronze category, Dries Mujdi pulling a little bit of a gap as well. But we've still got William Bush, Rob Thiessen, and Thijs Berg, who could still win that. So a couple of drivers getting a little bit of headway in the championships, but still very much open. And of course, only 2 rounds to go after this one. And if these drivers have something to prove, they certainly need to get on with it before next season starts, of course.
got news from the stewards. Matthias De Tige will not partake in qualifying due to a qualifying ban, and so you will start from the back of the grid. We have 35 cars signed up for this event. As still in the lead, well, not still in the lead because Van der Slick is able to jump PJ Claessens and puts his Ferrari for RevMatch Esports in provisional pole. So very good lap from Van der Slick, and this of course will motivate Claessens to try and get the pole position back. I would imagine a very important round. I was putting my cameras earlier on Ruben Van Buren, who now is up to 4th position, running as he has done plenty of times in the past in the series. Of course, the Michael Schumacher tribute livery, and of course, this is one of the tracks where Schumacher really cemented his Ferrari legacy. Of course, this being the home track for Ferrari, so very close to their hometown. And BMW, not the best car around here, but you know, there are some pretty high intensity braking zones, so that might come in handy as he comes back on the track on the start finish line, which is not at the beginning like it was back in the days, not at the back, at the very end of the front stretch. The start finish line is where the straight makes a kink to the right. That is, of course, part of the updates done to the racetrack after F1 left to bring it back to proper standards. And after that, it has hosted a plethora of events, including the European Le Mans Series, the International TCR Championship, and many other
Superbikes,
events.
I think.
Yes, also, but Superbike. Yeah, they went there after the updates. I don't know if they still run there. Certainly, this is where Max Biaggi won his first Superbike title in 2010 in this very racetrack. So you can imagine the wild celebration, of course. So
Yes.
that is going to be off track, what Kevin van der Slick just did. So you have to be careful, and because if you run wide, you get an off track. If you run even more wide, you get tagged with a slowdown, and you want to avoid that as soon as possible. Of course, Sam, it goes without saying, those chicanes, especially the Tamburello and the Variante Alta, will be very hotly contested spots in the first few laps.
Yes, and like I said earlier on, it is extremely narrow around pretty much all this circuit. So running side by side as we're going to do with 40 odd GT3 cars isn't going to be easy whatsoever. Ruben Van Buren just stopping there. These drivers are allowed to take back to the pits. A couple of series that we broadcast on our main channel, Apex Racing TV, and on the iRacing Esports Network, actually, because tomorrow we've got the ARL TC series, so you can check that out. But some series you're not allowed to take back to the pits, but in this series it's absolutely fine, so they can complete their lap time, pop back to the pits, and then do a quick out lap, and then their flying lap once again. 5.5 minutes left of qualifying, and once that timer ticks down, the drivers will be able to complete the lap that they started. So still plenty of time to improve. But currently, it's Kevin van der Slick leading the way. PJ Claessens in second. Chris Warner in third. Ruben Van Buren doing pretty well up in 4th place as well. In terms of the silver drivers, Nick Sherman's leading the way ahead of Jeremy Hessels. And in terms of the bronze drivers, Ben Thanes, Jais Mushti leading the way with in 14th place. And he's just a bit ahead of the rest of the drivers at the moment. So, like I said, plenty of time for these guys to improve. I think we were talking earlier on a little bit about the incidents situation. These drivers allowed 25 incidents. Last time at Kota, they were incredibly well-mannered when it came to the incidents. Only one driver, I believe, in the entire field actually got disqualified, which was quite incredible, considering that was the toughest circuit. So, I mean, it should be a walk in the park in comparison, this, Marco.
We'll see. I mean, usually it is like this, but who knows what might happen. Certainly, this is one of the, the more recent tracks in iRacing. This one, Le Mans, have been more, I think, on the safe side for incident points. They prefer to give you a slowdown compared to an off-track, and certainly it's quite tough to get off-tracks around here, but it can be possible, especially not only if you run wide, of course, the Variante Alta, but maybe if you are a bit too aggressive here in the chicanes, jumping on those speed bumps, you can A, damage your car, and B, be tagged with a slowdown. Or if you're Greg Ruto, don't know if you remember, we were commenting on that a few years ago, fly into the distance here at the, I think it was here at the Villeneuve chicane, where he, in his McLaren MP4-30, he got the curb the wrong way and got propelled into the runoff area.
I have not seen that. Was that Blancpain GT?
No, it was the Open Wheel World Championship in iRacing. We were doing the team stream of Apex, I think, together. I was there. I don't know about you. I remember I was.
I assume this is when Pete Bayman led for 90% of the race.
Yes, exactly.
And the win was cruelly taken away from him. A fantastic race that, by the way. Go to Apex Racing TV, our normal channel, to see that. Admittedly, it was like over a year ago, but it was seriously a very good race. And Pete Spayman led with about 5 laps to go, and then his old tyres just let him down right at the finish.
I'm assuming you were doing the broadcast because I think 95% of my broadcast on this channel are with you. So, using the numbers on my side, it's safe to say that we did that together. But back to the action right now in this beautiful championship. Another very successful season coming towards the end. I cannot wait next week for Barcelona. It's going to be the first time for everyone around there. Hopefully we get Martin back. And it puts everyone, I think, on a level playing field, even though some of these drivers have certainly raced there in other series. Some of them I know are already practicing for Barcelona, but it's a clean slate for everyone, and we'll see, because it's a track that has given some interesting racing. It's terrible for racing, when we watch the F1 around there, because of how the cars are designed. Right now, we'll see in 2021 what happens, but it gave us some interesting races in iRacing in slower cars, just like this one. By the way, nice to have Marvin Amans back. He has been keeping us company in the chat for quite a while, I have to say, in these past few rounds. So nice to have him back onto the racetrack, sporting his I think, newly acquired Mercedes, because I think he was running with the Ferrari early in the season, even though I might be wrong.
Yeah, I think you might well be correct. By the way, do you have the camera pack installed?
That is quite an interesting question, and I will check it in a second.
I go to all this effort, blood, sweat, and tears, to produce some nice shots for this broadcast, and gone and undone it. But no, at least I can see these very nice shots.
But they were not installed, so.
Aha, okay.
Now it should be okay.
Hooray! It will blow your minds. Yeah, made a bit of a fuss about this now, to be honest, I have. But anyway, here we go. Oh, looks brilliant now. 20 more seconds of qualifying. Still Kevin van der Slyck then, leading the way at 40.81 is currently the time to beat. He's 1/10 of a second clear of PJ Clayton's. Chris Warner further 1/2 back. If this could be a good lap, although he takes a lot of curb on the inside and then runs wide anyway. I think he may have got a 1x because really trying to cut that corner quite significantly. But we've got an incredibly tight field out here today. Currently the top 9 drivers separated by 1/2 a second. The top top 16 separated by 1 second. So there's so many drivers who can still win this one. Martin Van Liesnold, of course, would fancy his chances. He would certainly be pushed by these drivers, no doubt about that. But does give everyone else a fantastic opportunity. The fact that he is not here today, as PJ Clayton's in a little bit of traffic, not necessarily where he wants to be, but he might just get a tiny bit of a slipstream off that Mercedes AMG just up the road if he can nail these final couple of corners. Same case for Rob Thiessen. He's trying to up his position of 23rd on the grid. And with such a tight grid as we've got out here, every hundredth of a second you can gain could get you a couple of positions potentially. You can see the Ferrari just in the background there. I think that was Thiessen pulling back into the pits. Clayton's though, second place at the moment on the grid. Can he improve? No, he can't. It's a 41.1, couple of tenths slower than his best lap time. Bod
But
Boland
Boland,
his line, moves up into 18th.
yeah,
Good to see
he didn't have a
Boland.
time. Unbelievable.
Oh,
Like
right.
he
Okay.
waited until the last moment. That's his confidence, or maybe he was finishing his dinner. Who knows? I once made coffee and tried to drink coffee during a race on iRacing in Monza, and it was a bad idea. So don't do that. Don't do this as well, because that is going to be costly. And I think, Sam, we are just waiting for... I don't know if Roy Verbeek lap is going to count. Either way, I think he's just enjoying a nice cruise around this beautiful, 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 beautiful racetrack. I am not biased. Its setting is absolutely unique in the middle of the city, basically, and near the Santerno River that goes on behind the runoff area at Tamburello. Very picturesque, and most of the track, especially on the inside portion of the track, is located basically just outside, inside a public park, so you can enter there for free and enjoy a nice walk and enjoy the races when possible. We are done with the qualifying, and so I leave to you the starting grid for this Monza Imola round. Wow, don't even know my racetracks.
So, on pole position is going to be Kevin van der Slick then. I believe his first pole position of the season. PJ Clayton's lined us up alongside him on the front row of the grid. Then it's Chris Warner, Ruben Van Buell. So a few different teams represented then in that top four. Good to see Tom Metherell as well, the top Meraki driver. So I think is that 5 different teams in the top 5? I believe
Top
it is.
Meraki is PJ Clayton's.
Oh, okay. Apologies. Still, 4 different teams represented in the top 4. And then we've got, so Tom Metherell in 5th. Dion Phillips starts in 6th. Neil Cooper in 7th. Then it's Nick Sherman's, top of the silver gyros, by the way. Sherman's, that's big for him. Only 1/100th of a second ahead of Jeremy Hessel's as well, 2nd place out of the silver gyros. Then it's Ewan Marshall, Marvin Amont, Seb Herbuer, Ben Thanes, Rob Thiessen. And of course, behind that, apologies, is Ben Thanes, Dries Mushti, Stephen DeWolf, Ronald Moons, Ingmar Anderson, Bod Boland, Roy Ververke, Ryan Walker, James Hobden, Steve Castrop, Anton Dupin, Rob Thiessen, Lee Woodburn, William Bush, Pim Bao, Bram Van Utsven, Thijs Berg, Ben Llewellyn, John McConville, Matthias de Tige, and then also Kevin Boland, Peter Grels, Robin Monster, and Danny Rose, hopefully taking the start. The last few of them not taking a qualifying lap. Apologies for that slight interruption. I accidentally turned off my TV, but everything is okay now, and we're going to get the pace lap running. Of course, not a very long one, thanks to this being a newer circuit. iRacing not giving us the entire formation lap, such as Road America, of course, as we saw in the World GT a couple of nights ago. But this race, Marco, very important for these drivers. A fantastic chance at nipping a race win today. And overtaking is going to be difficult, especially with the pace of that Ferrari down the straights.
Absolutely. We have Dries Mujdi starting from the pits, you can see on the bottom of your screen, as the pace car is heading for this very, very quick, very fast, I would say also dangerous pit entrance. Just about ready to go.
Yes, here we are then. So, on pole position is Van der Slick. Can he get the jump away? He already puts his foot down. That's very early for him. And that is a fantastic start straight away. Chris Warner and PJ Claytons will have a drag race down into turn 1. Also, Ruben Van Buel getting a slipstream from the pair, then trying to challenge going into turn 1. But it's a superb start for the Rev Match Ferrari. Straight away, a long way ahead of the field, side by side, further down the field. Methil already up into 3rd place.
Oh
Brilliant start for the
no!
Meraki driver. And round there is one of the Rev Match.
Phillips. It was Phillips.
Phillips.
Good save.
Spinning round.
Yeah,
But
save.
getting back underway.
Ah, man, that was disaster avoided, Sam. But now look at this traffic jam heading into Villeneuve. Oh, into the wall is Ewan Marshall.
So Marshall, awful start for him. But you can see Van Stek still leading the way. So Methil gained 2 places, like I said, not quite sure how. Didn't seem like a brilliant launch for him, but he's put himself right into the mix straight away here. Of course, Chris Warner with Ruben Van Buel dropping a couple of places. Hessel's now into the lead of the Silver Jazz, up into 7th place now. German's down 3 places, so poor start for him. And also Ronald Moon's up 4 places. Boland up 4 places. Thiessen and Bush up 5 and 6 places respectively. So a few really good starts for drivers. But Ewan Marshall drives Mujdi crucially from the lead of the bronze category. And Steve Kastrop falling to the back of the field.
Yeah, I don't know why Mujdi elected to start from the pits, as we have a big traffic jam here, as also running there you might see in his oddly colored Ferrari is Kevin Bolland, who is now racing, I think, as a privateer after leaving Nomad. Big thumbs up for that absolutely gorgeous livery, as the first lap is in the books. And let's see Marvin Amans trying to make a move here on his teammate Dion Phillips. Phillips, who might have some damage after that contact here at the Tamburello in the very first lap. Oh, he's bouncing on those curbs, is Phillips, to get the position back on his teammate. And he goes wide and into the wall, hard, and that is a very bad couple of laps for Dion Phillips, and that will be his race.
Well, he was spun at turn 1. He was almost spun at turn 2. Both times got very fortunate. This time, no such luck. You can see taking a bit of curve there anyway, and then just runs a little bit wide. You can see the oversteer actually through the 3rd part, just correcting it a little bit, running wide and losing grip on those tyres, spinning the car into the very nearby wall. And that is a great shame for him. And after a good upturn of form, to be fair, for Phillips, just not quite materialising today. Sure, he'll be back for the next couple of rounds to end the season. So we go back to live pictures as Anton Dupin chasing down the driver ahead of William Bush. They are a little bit detached from the drivers ahead, so I'm sure Dupin would quite like to make this move. A one-time race winner in the silver category so far this season. A slowdown now for Rob Thiessen, and that's how easy it is to pick up one there. Fortunately, he had a little bit of a gap, but on the second lap can lose a lot of time. Trying to get back up to top speed now, and it seems as though it hasn't lost him too much time. Almost side by side, just behind, with Hobden and Thiessen now dropping further back, just trying to desperately serve that slowdown. Otherwise, it'll be a long stop and hold around this place. And another slowdown as well for James Hobden now.
Yes, Hobden is slowing down quite a lot, as another lap goes in the books. Lap 3 starting right now. As we show another time, this fantastic livery for Kevin Bolland. I mean, that is a work of art in my opinion. But as you can see, all over the place, all over the racetrack, Sam, there are many traffic jams, and this is going to be, I think, a theme for the night, because, like I said, if you cannot make the move and it's very hard around here, quite a queue is going to be forming around you, behind you, I would say.
Yeah, difficulty in overtaking around this place as DeWolf tries to prove me wrong, but has to back out of it there. In fact, actually, that's Boland getting ahead, at least since the start of this episode. Now up 6 places in Boz Boland. Always a driver who drives better in the race than in qualifying, and only managed to put the 1 qualifying lap in. So perhaps it was a little bit out of position. You can see straight away, pulling away from the BMW driver. I think he'll be able to quite soon get onto the back of the next driver. So Neil Cooper losing a place. Might be orchestrated though. The Fury Sim Sport drivers perhaps trying to work together. Warner now down 2 places from his start rather than the 3. And clearly they feel as though he's got the best chance at taking on these guys at the front.
Top 3 have slightly pulled away from the rest of the pack, but look at that slipstream from Claessens. It's very tough to get them moved on into the Tamburello, because you need to be side by side and on the inside. And despite despite not being a chicane there anymore, it's not a long straight for these cars to go side by side, especially when you have equal, equal cars like the 2 Ferraris, and slipstream is not very strong in these machines, so it's tough to go past, and usually overtake attempts at Tamburello end up in disaster. So another lap goes by. Of course, it's going to be a 1-hour race. These guys will have to take fuel. They 100% won't take tires unless they forget about it, because there is no gain in changing tires, so you lose too much time in the pits compared to the time that you gain with the fresher tires. So it's going to be a pretty straightforward strategy, usually, unless you are in a massive traffic jam, which is quite possible around here, might I add. These drivers will try to stop as late as possible, and it looks like Kevin Bolland and Ewan Marshall are having some issues. Ewan Marshall is okay, but Kevin Bolland has got bigger problems. See, going down Piratella there. And entering Acque Minerali. Lucky for him, I think he just ran wide there. No contact, and back on track. Very, very tough corner, the second part of Acque Minerali. Which
absolutely is.
Yes, you might remember this. I say this every time, and all the broadcasts we've done together. You should know that is my favorite corner name in the world, because it's so.
What does it mean? I mean water.
Mineral water.
Just
Mineral waters. Mineral water, because I think there is a. I think it's because there is like a. A spring or something like that there. But yeah,
oh, cool.
It's so quintessentially Italian. Dupin going for a little bit of off track there at Villeneuve.
Yeah, William Bush trying to just get the cutback on him here through the hairpin, but not a good enough exit for now. Has to stay behind. By the way, still leader of the silver drivers then is Jeremy Hessels. The leader of the bronze drivers, I guess, is now... Is it William Bush, leader of the bronze drivers? Yes, it is. So in 18th place at the moment. Second place in there is Ben Llewellyn. Then it's Rob Thiessen, who's had a couple of issues so far as Thiessen. I think he got a slowdown, so he probably was leading. Because earlier on we had a collision for Jais Mushti, who is still running and still has a decent chance at winning that bronze category because he is a very quick driver. But out in the lead, this is for the lead in the gold drivers. BJ Clayton's catching up to Kevin Van Stick. Van Stick straight away puts his car to the left-hand side of the circuit. No doubt he's going to not give away the inside line there. However, if you're on the outside and you're much deeper on the bricks, there's not a whole lot that the driver on the inside can do. He tries to keep his nose in there. BJ Clayton falls off the circuit, goes over the bumps, and now this invites Tom Methel to go for a move, and this should be quite simple for Methel, down the inside into the Villeneuve chicane, and it is simple. So from almost going into the lead, he drops straight back as Morlov moves, goes off the circuit from 11th
someone
place,
in
and
the
another
fence there.
driver has gone off, and that's Ben Thanes. So two of the front runners in the silver category. Fortunately, Thanes doesn't seem to have too much damage, and this is how it happened. They weren't too close to one another on circuit. Thanes drops it, gets out of the way, so it's two completely different incidents, I think.
Yeah, and didn't hit the wall, so good for him. Steven Kastrop is in. Let's see what happened to Moons, which was, like you were saying, just a few meters ahead. Made a mistake and did the right thing. He went for the daisies, which is better than trying to keep the car on the car. Now, Now Tom Metherell is fancying his chances, and all this battling here. Here comes Van Buel, and maybe he can bring Warner with him. Let's see if Van der Slick can hold that Ferrari in front of this other attack from Meraki.
I was saying at the start of the race, it's going to be difficult to overtake the Ferraris with their straight line speed. Probably not actually completely correct that, because we've actually found that the Mercedes have been mightily quick down the straight this season. We're not quite sure if it's a team thing or whether it is absolutely just down to the car. But Monza, they've been quite strong, and always talk to the likes of Martin Meliusnod, who always says how difficult it is to race those guys. So we've got a rev match drive just coming out of the pits. That may have been Steve Castrop. It was after a very poor start for him. Certainly down the pit straight, though, that time came Van Stake pulling away nicely. 6/10 of a second, his lead at the moment. And good to see Castrop back out on circuit. Wants to score as many points as he possibly can. That's Jazz continue to pick up 1x's, and I was saying earlier on how no one's going to get disqualified today, as the two of the top 5 clearly pick up incident points right there. So do you need to certainly keep an eye out on it?
Sam, I don't know about you, but I saw quickly a glance of Steve Castrop's car, and it seems like it's okay. So this early pit stop after 10 minutes maybe makes me think that he forgot to put race fuel in the car.
I
Could be
think he did get some. I think he dropped back at the start of the race. I'm pretty sure it's down like 10 places. So
Okay.
you might well be correct, but you may have picked up some damage. But then at the same time, to contradict myself, of course, you can't pick a whole lot of damage in a short amount of time. So
Well, he started from the pits, because I'm looking right now. So
okay.
yeah, he started from the pits. So maybe he forgot about the fuel. I don't know. Maybe a penalty or something like that. Whatever the case, he's got a long road ahead of him, as 12 minutes will strike on the clock, and we are having quite a queue for the lead, because I think it's official. The other two Fury guys in 5th and 6th are about to join this party, especially if it seems that like this, that the two Meraki boys are quicker than Van der Slik, but of course Van der Slik doing his utmost to keep the first position, know how important it is, he knows that. And so is unwillingly but inevitably slowing everyone else down. Now I was looking at Tom Metro. I don't know if you have the latest paint pack installed or one of the earliest, but it looks like he has like a, and I don't know if you have the rear view mirrors activated on your system, but it looks like he has like a Marusha helmet on him. Maybe you can catch that on the stream when it comes on.
I can see that on the broadcast. Of course, those two questions you just asked me, Marco, were very easy answers. Of course, I haven't downloaded the most recent paint pack, and of course, I can't possibly allow extra graphics as that. So really, they weren't very smart questions, were they? In reality, but no, I do see that Marusha helmet. I don't know if Van Slyke has got anything to do with
Yeah,
that.
the M, Meraki, Marusha, Not that they're going to care since the team is disbanded, so I think he's.
Oh, we don't want a rich energy scandal again. Oh, we've had enough about logos in motorsport.
It's important, because they ask us or the leagues or whatever for the logo permissions for the cars, but what about the helmets and the suits? They never
Some
talk about that.
loopholes.
Yeah? Here we go for the lead again.
Of course, that Mercedes, like I said, good straight line speed. I mean, that is mainly just the slipstream, but it's not particularly strong in this GT3 car. Ever since, it's off the circuit, and skating off the circuit was Marvin Amont, desperately trying to hang on to his vehicle. But he falls off the circuit, and the car number 64 may only lose 1 place, I believe, in all of that. We've also got further side by side. Batista Teach having a bit of a tough race. I don't believe he set a qualifying time, but he is trying
He
to
was
gain
banned.
some places back. He was spun, apologies.
He was
And,
banned. Banned from qualifying. Sorry, my English is not good.
apologies.
Qualifying ban.
That's not your pronunciation bad. That's literally my deafness causing issues right there. So to teach, making up a few places from the back of the field. So big shame that he's had no chance, because I think he may have won Zolder last season. I'm not 100% sure. Certainly a BMW runner who won Zolder last season when Van Liesnod wasn't around, or maybe Van Liesnod disconnected or something.
He was racing with his phone connection that night. And
Yes.
after half of the race, it said, "No thanks. I'm not giving you internet anymore."
So I think he won on that occasion with Detiche. So always one to watch out for. He may have won another round actually last season as well. Apologies that I don't know this off by heart. Need to create a bit of a sporkle quiz where you name all the winners of each season. I'm sure that would be some good revision.
It's
Anyway,
also not a huge amount of different winners,
no.
especially in the past couple of seasons. So we should know that. I include myself in the category because I don't remember that. On the inside metal, just for a second there, he thought about going on the inside. Van der Slick was able to cover the move quite quickly. It certainly, like I said, it seems that the pace is there for the Meraki, quicker than the rev match guy, but like I said many times, it is going to maybe come down to the strategy in the pits, the dive on the inside there from the Mercedes. But going on the outside, there's a little bit of ondulation there on the outside, which may help you propel yourself as you head into this left-hander here called Piratella. And then you go down the hill to Acqua Minerali once again into the part that it is closer and next to the public park here in Imola, where you can enjoy some of my favorite food in all of the country, because the main production around here is meat, is tortellini and salame and other delicious stuff. My favorite destination to reach when I'm traveling around Italy is Emilia Romagna, the region of Imola. Once again, Odis looks like a good chance.
Trying to defend on the inside. Here's Van der Slik. Really good run, though, for the Mercedes. On the outside, Van der Slik almost pushes him out. He should have an advantage should the Ferrari do the second part, and he does just move ahead. Here comes PJ Clayton. He benefited, or sorry, he lost out after trying to go for the lead earlier on. Lost out to Method on that occasion, and he's going to try to do the same thing to the Mercedes as he fell victim to earlier on. Once again, Van der Slik getting his car to the inside. Clayton's trying to pick up the pieces. He might even make it 3 wide. That would not have been well advised as the Mercedes runs around the outside. They're going to surely make contact way over the bump.
Dear!
And they do
Oh
contact,
no!
and now Clayton spins
Oh
round. And now he's surely going to
jeez!
take up Van Buell as well, who just about scopes through. But did Warner get involved in that one? I don't think he did. So Cooper and Warner get through, but that is a couple of the top 6 potentially out of this race. And after all of that, it's still Kevin Van der Slik who leads the way. Van Buell moves up into second place, Warner in third, and Cooper in fourth.
I mean, that was crazy. Both drivers hitting those speed bumps, and then the two Meraki drivers clipping each other. What a disaster! What a disaster. I'm very sad for these guys because for once my prediction has been held true. Those speed bumps are terrible. And also I see some damage on the front right of our leader, and squeaking past are Van Buell and the two Fury Scene Sport cars. So, well, that was certainly an interesting way to spice up the beginning of the race, and in all of that, track position proves to be key once again, because, of course, Van der Slik, despite having some damage on the front right, was able to go past the disaster there, while his two quickest rivals now have some soul searching to do. Metrel is in 5th, and I cannot find PJ Claessens. Oh, he's
he's in the pits, yep. And he's disconnected from the session as well. What a shame for PJ Clayton. I was picking up how he was just waiting to move up into second place. And on the rundown to turn one, he had the inside against Methor, who had the outside. It really looked as though he might be able to gain one place and maybe was the fastest driver out here today. But not being able to show that. Of course, Lewis, not sure if that's Lewis Ward. Of course, Lewis Ward not racing today, so I am putting 2 and 2 together. Hopefully I've found 4 out of that. And Lewis saying that's one way to keep the lead. It sure is. And it's a very entertaining way to keep the lead. Unfortunately, of course, we're down to probably 5 drivers who've got a fantastic chance of winning this race. Jeremy Hessel's currently is 4.5 seconds off the lead. He's a silver driver. I can't remember ever a silver driver winning a race. And I am getting a long way ahead of myself because we've had one instance so far. But Hessel's with a completely clean car, Van der Slyck with a damaged car, seemingly. Oh, has he got a slowdown? Van der Slyck, is this going to give up the lead? No, that was just the
No,
camera
it's your
angle.
cameras.
And I was panicking
It is
way too much.
your cameras. It's the second
I
time that it does this trick to me the previous lap as well. You know what we need? You know if you ever watch those NFL broadcasts where they have like uh, they can highlight something on the screen like with a yellow marker or something, no?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I would love that because you can see now, and I do this every time with my mouse, but I'm the only one seeing it, of course. Top right of the Ferrari, you can see just behind the Lumirank panel, that is quite clearly some damage. Not big, but damage nonetheless on Van der Slyck's car.
Oh, effective straight line speed. And look at the BMW here, charging down the straight. Van Buell almost going for the inside there. Just shows how Van der Slyck has got to constantly be on his toes, and I think that damage just affecting his driving a little bit. He seems to be taking a little bit extra curb at some of these areas, running wide a little bit, and Van Buell making himself very much known, just glancing to the inside. Of course, we always say the BMW not the fastest car down the straight, and that's what you need when you're trying to overtake
Fire alarm?
another
I
driver.
heard something in the
No, sorry,
background.
that was the doorbell.
Okay.
The building's not on fire, thankfully.
Oh, what's going on here? William Bush and someone else. I think that was John McConville with some big damage there. Let's get a replay.
Marshall now down 13 places from his start. Thames down 9 after a few issues. This is going back a little bit to see where he picked up this damage. William Bush going way too deep. They were both way too deep. If either of them had gone through the corner normally, they would have had the advantage in the end, just keeping position.
That was round 1, as we have a driver standard warning for Hessels for this collision with the Mons earlier. So let's see round 2 then, getting into Tamburello.
Oh dear.
Okay. Oh no, it was behind then. It was behind with other drivers involved, Rob Tyson there, and who is that with that very nice livery? We'll know later. Back to the lead.
Well, Thiessen did a good job there. I think he cut the first corner. And quite often when drivers go for that, where they think that they're going to ram into the back of someone and they cut the corner, they usually just slam into the door and they make the situation even worse. But that was good driving there from Thiessen. Carried enough speed across, they managed to not intercept his rival. Battle in the lead. You're absolutely right, Marque. Still, Van der Slyck half a second ahead of Chris Warner now, who we haven't talked about too much. Starting in 3rd place, dropped down to 6th, I believe, by the end of the first lap. Then was kind of chauffeured past by his teammate Neil Cooper. He's up 3 places from his start, Cooper. So looking very good for him. I don't think he's ever run quite this high in a race before. Is it Cooper who always has awful qualifying and then makes it up in the race? I think we gave him driver of the day at Sebring because he started in like 25th place, finished in about 8th. And was a very good drive through the field. But if he's doing very well at the moment in the race, and he did well in qualifying as well. So could be a big threat to these guys. Currently the top 4, you can see very close. Methril in 5th, and like I said, Hessel's half a second faster than the race leader on that last lap. He's the real man with the momentum at the moment. You can just see him in his BMW in the background there. Quite a gap back then to 7th place. But as long as Methyl isn't too much of a roadblock for Hessels, I think Hessels has a decent chance at putting some pressure on these top guys.
As we are heading into half of the race gone. Look at the beautiful, beautiful queue that we are having for the lead.
Close battle for the lead in the bronze category, by the way. Just looking at the standings, William Bush, of course, dropping back, as we saw a few moments ago. Fortunate not to be wrecked out of the race, to be honest. He's only just ahead of Ben Llewellyn. That's the battle for the top of the bronze. Just Rob Thiessen as well, right in there. Seems to have the edge on pace with those guys, but has already had a couple of offs as decent. And then Woodburn and Bow rounding out the top 5 in the bronze category. So certainly, could be an evolving battle that we're not halfway through this race yet. Only 25 minutes in, so plenty of action. And we always talk about in this race, the last 10 minutes usually goes absolutely chaotic. Well, the first 25 minutes of this race will be quite chaotic. So it could be a fantastic end, and hopefully you're enjoying the broadcast so far. Certainly is touting up to be a fantastic rest of the event, as the top 3 now, Marco, just holding line at the moment. It's calmed down a little bit. They're kind of just, let's not fight for a few moments at least. Let's maybe wait till the pit stops before we really go for something spectacular. And they're just holding station at the moment.
They are, absolutely. As I think Van Buel really has pace with his BMW, but you know, it's very tough to battle with the Ferrari there. You need to be perfect, as we have a overtake there. Matter of getting past Essols, as also we have issues for Ryan Walker. Well, there's a big pack of cars there, so it's Ben Wellin with a new, I think, livery for his team, Abruzzi Esports. Very, very good, I have to say. More in line with James Ogden's livery.
Abruzzi, of course, a league sponsor and do some very good products, by the way. Some really high quality stuff. So you can get like some karting suits or some sim racing equipment and can have your name on it and a special color scheme. So looks really cool. So certainly if you're looking towards that, do check out the Abruzzi Facebook page. And there's loads of posts on Facebook as well of people's own products from Abruzzi. Apologies for that plug, but of course they are a league sponsor, as Ben Llewellyn trying to catch up still to the driver ahead. Van Buel's in the lead. Van Buel is just taking the lead, although Van der Sik now takes it back. Apologies, that may have been a glitch on the timing screen.
Yes.
I think you saw that as well, Marco.
Let's see if it was lag related.
Was a damp squib in the end.
Oh, no, it was...
okay.
they're back at it again.
And Van Buel's got the inside as well, so this should be simple enough for him. He takes the lead of the race here at Imola, and Ruben Van Buel, who started in 4th place, his first proper overtake of the event, and he's made it stick. Brilliant driving that from the gold driver, and he leads the race for the first time this season. Trying to come back straight away is the Ferrari down the inside into the hairpin. Half an opportunity opened up by Van Buel, but couldn't take it, Van der Slik. Those brakes on the BMW, very good. Just pulls a few tenths of a second clear. He'll be relieved about that.
Absolutely. So, change for the lead, and now we'll see if the driver in 3rd place, Chris Warner, will be able to profit from what just happened.
Could we go back to that move just down the pit straight? Because I'm curious to see how on earth Van Buel managed to get the inside line going into turn 1, because we've seen Van der Sik defending that line staunchly so far today. And yeah, he managed to seemingly give it up. However, we might have to stick with it because there's still action going on, an opportunity for Van der Sik to come straight back. We were talking about how Van Buel looked way faster, but all of a sudden now that he's in the lead, failing to gap his rivals at all. And now the Ferrari has a very good chance at perhaps just out-dragging the BMW down the straight, albeit with a bit of damage on that Ferrari. And actually, Van Buel pulling away a little bit down this straight. The gap certainly maintaining. Maybe Van der Sik just lifting out of the thoughts of not wanting to go for an overtake. Or maybe that damage is really affecting him.
Look at the Ferrari looking for a way past at the Villeneuve chicane. Super tough to get the move done there, but it seems like you're right. Everyone who goes in the lead is almost like he gets slow down. I don't know why, because the slipstream is not that big as we have had. William Bush entering the pits. Marvin Amans is in the pits. Keep an eye on their times. Look at how close the Ferrari is. But there is no way past Acqua Minerali. Usually when you go for a move here, it's a recipe for disaster. And the grip really lets you down there coming out of the corner. Also, if you go a bit wide, you get a slowdown penalty. And so it's better to hold off and maybe try to stay as close as possible. Rivazza, the next corner, has proven to be a popular overtaking spot, and here we go.
So, side by side once again, Van der Steek has got the much better line. Van Buren running wide at the chicane. And it's simple for the Rev Match esports driver. Moves back into the lead of this race. And you gotta say, it looks a bit inevitable that he was going to make that move. Just seemed to be faster around the vast majority of the circuit. And even Van Buren will have his head scratching. I imagine he was feeling pretty confident in second place and very confident when he took the lead. But he was seemingly outpaced there once he took the head of this race. And might have to think of other ways to win this event, maybe through the strategy, as Chris Warner closes right up. Once again, Warner running very wide through the second part of the Tamburello chicane. Seems to maybe like that line, but it's quite a risky policy, especially if you dip your wheels onto the grass. But just drops back a little bit, as I'll tell you, Mark, these drivers are making quite a few small mistakes, not massive mistakes. In fact, out of this kind of top 5 battle, I don't think, or top 6 battle, I don't think we've seen anyone spin completely by themselves, but it's just small areas where maybe they run a little bit too deep into the corner, affects their exit, and it just shows the difficulty around here at Imola, where you've got to be constantly committed to each corner, but if you do mess it up slightly, then it costs you a lot of time.
Absolutely. I think that we have seen that plenty of times tonight. Let's see how it's going to affect the drivers. And also it's going to be important to see if any of these drivers here will try and go for an undercut, because it may prove to be the winning strategy, especially when it's this close up front, the top 3 drivers. And you see also Metrel trying to come back after the disaster he had earlier. And once again, very sad for what happened to what happened to PJ Claessens, because that was very, very unlucky.
Yeah, I don't know if he's watching the broadcast at the moment. I wouldn't blame him on just trying to detach from it all right now, because yeah, was absolutely racing along was PJ Claessens. Great shame that he's not in this race anymore. Top 6 though, all in that same straight, and that's not a particularly long straight. 4.3 seconds separating the 6 of them at the moment. On that last lap, Hessels was 4/10 faster than the race leader. Of course, now we're talking into the territory of perhaps fuel saving, trying to save a bit of fuel and go 1 lap further on this stint. Of course, it'll mean that you're less likely to come out in traffic. And of course, you're going to have that 1 extra lap where you're on mega low fuel when your rivals are on much higher fuel. So maybe is a tactic being followed by a couple of them right now. Of course, a tactic that Van der Steek can't follow too much, as he is not in the tow of another driver. Tight battles going on out there. Elsewhere in the field, Ronald Moon's being caught by Nick Shermans, who had a very poor start, did Shermans. Dropped down into 12th place from 2nd place out of the silver driver. Started only just behind Jeremy Hessels, and there's now some 14 seconds between them. But Sherman's only half a second behind Ronald Moon's at the moment. That's the battle for 11th.
Yes. If I can find it on the also this battle here between McConville, Walker, and Llewellyn. Walker is in 9th in silver, but more importantly, Llewellyn and Thyssen are fighting for the lead in the bronze class. He's getting closer and closer here. No way through. Oh, Kevin Bolland has had an issue. I think he called it a day. Car having massive issues with understeer. Oh, you know, as a marshal, proper
You
thumbs up.
approve of that?
Yeah.
Bit worrying that there's a fence there. I mean, it's rare that a driver's going to, you know, crash in that area, but a fence doesn't seem the most sturdy type of wall to stop a car. But there you go.
Oh, Anton Dupin with an issue. Around he goes.
So that dropped Dupin down into 15th place, I think just behind John McConville. It's a really weird gap at the moment between Detige and McConville. 15 seconds between 13th and 14th place, which is quite strange. It's not as though McConville's got a massive chain behind him. He's got 2 drivers quite close behind him. So a few kind of gaps forming at various parts of the track. As you can probably see from the track map, which isn't on the screen. Is the
Ooh.
track map deliberately not on the screen?
Yes. Now it is back.
Okay.
He's trying to save some space.
Neil Cooper under pressure from Tom Methil. Methil, of course, fighting for the lead earlier on in this event. They nearly took the lead. And seemingly that damage for him was affecting him quite severely. Couldn't keep up with the top 3 seemingly. But now he has got a lot of pace seemingly. Admittedly, Cooper has dropped off from the top. Cooper has dropped off from the top 3. 1.5 seconds now the gap, and they've got a little bit of traffic to deal with as well. As Methil goes down his inside, and Cooper spins round. He should only lose 2 places. Great shame though for Neil Cooper. And I mean, we'll have to see that from a different angle, but maybe just seemed as though Cooper was a little bit late to defend that off. And when he did try to turn into a corner, the Mercedes had his nose down the inside.
Here we go then. And I think I agree with you, but I'm sure we'll hear very soon from the officials.
Yeah, sure they'll come up with a decent penalty or warning for that action, or maybe racing incident. Not quite sure. I'm sure many people have different attitudes. Of course, I remember a World GT meeting where I defended a driver for a move that they made, and safe to say the comment section was not agreeing with me. But certainly the stewards will come up with a decent decision, I'm sure, as Van der Stick 1/10 of a second ahead of Van Buell, who took the lead earlier on. That was about 10 laps ago now, I believe. Then lost it within a couple of laps later. And now he's trying to get it back again on this lap 23 of the event. They are now 5 seconds ahead of Tom Methil, who's lost a lot of time, maybe trying to get past traffic. And of course, that's that spin as well. But surprising that they've lost quite as much time as that. They're barely in the same shots anymore. So it can be a big effort from Methil and Hessels, and maybe Cooper as well, if they're going to get back into the lead challenge. Stephen De Wolf is up in 9th place. He's doing very well at the moment, is De Wolf. Driver who was a little bit further down than that earlier on. He's only 16 seconds off the lead as well. He's fighting with Ingmar Andersen. This is the battle for 2nd place out of the silver drivers. I think Andersen was ahead previously, but the Wolf, who started from 15th on the grid, having one of his best races of the season. Oh, as it's got even better for him. Although that was a back mark, apologies. And having to go off the circuit is Andersen. And he gets back on quite safely.
Yeah, I thought it was Anderson because it flashed red on the timing, live timing, but no, it was. But nevertheless, Anderson, like you were saying, lost a bit of time. As you know, Sam, we are as Cooper taking the wrong way through there. Oh, that is so unlucky. Disaster for Cooper. As Essels and Ebrer are in. That is so dangerous. You know, when it happens, you are furious with yourself. And even if you are, the most correct and nice driver, the only thing you are thinking is, I'm an idiot, what did I do? And let's go back to the pits. That was super, super dangerous. So let's keep an eye on the pit stop times for the guys that just came in. Tom Metral gets a warning for the collision, so we were in the wrong, and the stewards were in the right, as per usual. As the Tige, remember, after serving a disqualification from the qualifying session, is up into 9th place. 23 places gained so far.
Well, you do wonder what he could have done if it weren't for that penalty. Half a second faster than the race leader on that last lap. He's got a lot of pace as Matthias de Tige. And like I said, very good recovery. Certainly going to be up there for perhaps driver of the day. But I think there's going to be quite a few drivers who are going to be in line for that. I think we say that pretty much every week, to be honest. I don't want to be like the X Factor, one of those talent shows where it's such a difficult decision every single week. But it genuinely is quite tricky to give this Driver of the Day award. We've managed to give it to a fair share of different drivers so far in the first 9 races of the season. There's a few more drivers now coming to the pits. This is Van Buell and Warner from 2nd and 3rd, and Methel. So Van der Slick, the one Joe who didn't get a slipstream, has gone furthest on fuel.
Yes, basically everyone else is in, and we'll keep an eye on who comes out of the pits first. Out of all these drivers, we might, let's see. Very, very long pit road. So Anderson up into 2nd, and Moose, and then the Tig. So all these drivers going very long on fuel. But the big surprise you were saying is Van der Slick. Let's see, maybe from the chopper if we can get a better shot at these cars. So the first to come out is Van Buell. Warner follows him super, super closely. And that is a great stop from Warner. And Metherol, I think, dealing with the
Van
damage
Buell was very
repair.
slow away, apologies. I think Van Buell just wasn't accelerating away from the pit lane there, and I think there may have either been contact or Warner had to really get out to the dots or hit the brakes to avoid the BMW ahead. That was quite a strange circumstance, and of course not what they need because they're trying to undercut the race leader Kevin van der Slik if they possibly can.
And so
Van der
now we
Slik
wait
now
for Van der
coming
Slik.
into the pits.
Just as we say that, here he comes. So let's keep an eye on this battling duo here. Maybe getting this close to each other will not help their chances. Let's see if being so close. Of course you have to be smart. Warner might want to hold off on attacks on Van Buell. Van der Slik is just about entering his pit stall. Now he is in his pit stall. McConville and Verweke will, I think, stop very, very soon. Van der Slik is still there behind that wall, I promise you. You can see the top of his Ferrari. Here comes Warner, and here comes Van Buell. Painfully slow and long pit road, but he will stay in front, and by quite a handy margin.
Wow. And that's not pit stop time. He had a longer pit stop than Ruben Van Buell, admittedly pretty much the same, a few 100ths of a second in that, and yet he's 4 seconds ahead, so excellent in-lap for him. And I think Van Buell definitely had a poor pull away from the pit lane. It's really cost him bad. However, he has looked quicker so far in this race, so he might be able to chase after the drivers ahead. Jeremy Hessel's then up into 4th place. What happened to Tom Methel? 32 seconds in the pit stop.
Repairs,
So,
yeah.
repairs, right. Or is that a speeding penalty?
No, I think he got. He was there for the repairs.
Okay. So yeah, Methel drops down into 10th place. De Wolf is up into 6th. I don't mean to sounds quite so surprised because Doomed also very good drive as Van Buel falls off the circuit, and almost following him there is Chris Warner now. Van Buel basically just sped across the track there, picks up a slowdown. I'm not sure who's going to lose out more from this. They're now 6 seconds off the lead. And you can see Van Buel speeding across the tarmac there was actually a little bit beneficiary. They barely slowed the slowdown and hasn't lost too much time from that. Very tight battle behind Monza at the moment because we've got Anderson, Moons, Methil, and Detige, and Shermans all in a line. That's the battle for 8th place at the moment. Ronald Moon's doing a good job, I think, during the pit stops. Maybe gained a couple of places. Very short pit stop, 14.05 seconds for him. The shortest pit stop we've seen, so maybe taking a leap or two less than his rivals. We might see some side-by-side action here, with Methil falling under attack from Detige, who finds the inside line. And Methil, from fighting for the lead earlier on, is going to drop outside the top 10 now. Detige up 22 places now, and look at this, he's straight onto the back of Moons. Gotta be careful from behind though, as Methil tries to retaliate straight away into Villeneuve.
People are asking for the rating of the drivers, so sorry if I didn't catch the message earlier, but there you go. Enjoy, thanks to the beautiful, beautiful SDK gaming overlay by Pascal and his team. Absolutely fantastic job. I'm not biased. This is the best overlay in iRacing, and you can use that for your own streams if you want. Just check sdkgaming.co.uk for more infos.
And of course you get a 14-day free trial as well, so why not, as all the advertisers commonly say.
And in this case, I think we are paid spokesperson in a sense. You
we
know?
are. Honestly, the lobbying is immense for Apex Racing TV. Unfortunately, we've got no reverse grids here, so one, we can't show you the SDK Gaming trailer on this broadcast, and two, no drivers can bribe us, so a great deal of revenue decreased for this broadcast, unfortunately, but the action certainly does make up for it. It is a fantastic series to cover. As Ronald Moons maybe falling back a little bit now from Ingmar Anderson. Just getting a waft of slipstream, I think, and that has just helped him defend from Matthias Detige. But Detige is so quick out there. Detige, by the way, 25 seconds off the lead here. Is fantastic through the first chicane. Unfortunately, there's pretty much nothing you can do with it because the outside line is the better line for Villeneuve. Running a little bit wide though is Moons, trying to get the car stopped on the apex to get a good run out. Detige trying to get from underneath the rear wing, just such a narrow circuit that there's not too much to go. And Moons should be okay up into Pietella. It's just not a big enough braking zone for the driver on the inside to have a proper run, and pretty much for the rest of the lap until you get to the final couple of corners, can you go for a proper responsible move? It's just too narrow, too flowing through this part of the track.
It is absolutely. You have to, once again, you have to hold off until at least you get to Rivazza 1 and Rivazza 2, especially Rivazza 1 seems to be the preferred passing point for tonight. Back in the lead, also we have Neil Cooper, of course, trying to make his way up. He got a drive-through penalty, by the way, for unsafe rejoin, and if I am not mistaken, he just served it. Look at the unbelievable gap for the lead. The pit stop time was 2 seconds quicker I mean, the pit stop time was the same. What was different was the pit lane time. He gained almost 3 seconds on his two closest rivals. So maybe he was a bit smarter in the sense that he was able to shave off some time you know, in getting in and out, you know, getting very close to the speed limit. As once again here comes the Tige, and once again no way through. And now it's Tom Mettrel. See the damage there.
Gap is coming down, by the way, for the lead. On that last lap, Van Buell was half a second faster. However, if he's going to catch up by the end of the event, he needs more like a second a lap if he's going to have time to overtake as well. So, looking very strong for Kevin van der Slik at the moment. Of course, the pole sitter, and if he did win this race after leading the vast majority of laps, it would make it look a whole lot easier than it actually has been. But of course, this battle still going on. Anderson definitely pulling away now, gap up to 7/10 of a second. Actually, as I say, that gap coming down a little bit again. What it means trying to stay as close as possible. That's the only thing that's helping him against Matthias de Tige. I think he'd be a sitting duck going down into turn 1 if it weren't for the small slipstream he's getting from the Rev Match Esports driver ahead. See de Tige with the handling of that BMW is just so much tighter on these corner exits, but when we come down to the straight, there's not a whole lot of overspeed that he has in that car. As he gains once again, is the inside a viable option? It is, because Moons opens the door, and Matthias de Tige will have that every day of the week, as we see another driver just off ahead. That is a back... No, that's
Pinball.
a Mons.
I think that was Pinball.
Pinball, apologies.
Coming out of the pits, I think he saw the battling cars behind him and said, you know what, I'm moving out of the way. And once again, this is the smart choice. Now Mettrel. Floodgates have opened for poor Ronald Moons. Mettrel goes past, and now there's a lapped car that is Pinbau, and Nick Schurmans will be next in line. So the gap, I mean, we have the tools, so let's use them and see the lap time history between these two drivers. And as you can see, you are absolutely right, because the gain has been constant and it is increasing. Last lap it was 8/10 of a second, the laps before that it was 4/10 of a second, the lap before that it was 2/10 of a second. So seems like Van Buell is increasingly getting closer and closer. We will come back to them very soon, but first let's enjoy...
Oh dear, De Wolf and Amont both having really good races, particularly Stephen De Wolf, but they make contact, they might even make contact again. Please don't, guys. No, they do get behind one another. And now, benefiting from that was Anderson, who moves up to 6th, the Tige moves up into 7th, and Methril moves up into 8th. That is such a shame, and this is how it happened. So Amont goes to the outside, De Wolf defending on the inside. He does leave a car's width, I believe, but then he just drags his car out, unfortunately, and then they make contact a little bit, and that hurts the situation even more. Now Mons skips the first corner, and I think he's going to have to let De Wolf go, even though he really doesn't want to. De Wolf does just slide his way down the inside there. Doesn't want to have to slow any more slow down. Yes, he does, just getting on the brakes. You could see that, and now he's going to be vulnerable going into the hairpin from Ronald Moons. Maybe they make contact. And Moons is now going to be under pressure from another Simracersworld driver just behind, although he should hang on to that one going into the next corner. By the way, Tom Methril on 19 incidents, so he needs to be careful from these incidents in the last few laps. Neil Cooper on 18, Ben Thanes on 19, and they're all the drivers who are quite close, but no one looking as though they're going to get disqualified.
You know, it's like they flicked a switch in this series. Every time it's 10 minutes to go, chaos ensues. Let's go back to see the timing comparison for these guys at the front. And yes, he keeps on gaining, but will it be enough? I don't think so. He needs some very good laps, unless I don't know. Maybe who knows? Maybe Amant's Van der Slik, of course, underfueled this car, but this lap, as I just say that, marginally quicker was Van der Slik. So maybe it's all going to be all right for Rev Match. So Martin is not here, Martin van Loosenhoort, but Van der Slik looking to keep the win streak for Rev Match going, as Another traffic jam here. And also the Tiju is trying to get past the leader, not the leader, I'm sorry, the second place car in silver, which is Ingemar Andersson. Leading the way, Ben Llewellyn, having a good race in bronze, in front of Rob Thyssen and William Bush. They always seem to get very close to each other, the bronze drivers, towards the end of the race. They are certainly all of them very well matched. Skipping on those curbs is Van Buel. Now Warner is getting closer, but also I think the gap is now dropping again between these drivers. Let's see a comparison of the time delta. And the gap is down to 3.8 seconds last lap, but now 3.8 seconds as well, I think. Very good run through the final couple of corners from Van der Slick helps him go back to 3.8 is certainly a good gap that he can certainly manage in this final 4 minutes and change.
Oh, this bat's again De Wolf, and Amance goes in too deep, and De Wolf will happily have that one. However, he might be susceptible to the attack down the pit straight, and look at that run from Amance early on the power. Meanwhile, De Wolf was trying to just sort out the rear end of that BMW. And here comes the slipstream, and here comes the Mercedes grunt as well, as Ronald Moons trying to make an impression just behind as well. The 64 car on the outside, seemingly that pace down the straight, just neutralizing a little bit as he runs around the outside, doesn't stay committed there. However, De Wolf missed the apex, maybe expecting him to still be there. Now De Wolf falling offline, puts his car in the middle of the circuit, Amongst dipping back into the slipstream to the outside. Maybe the inside was an option.
Oh, careful!
Oh, and he's trying everything, gets too much curb though, and that is 3 places lost right there. And Marvin Amont, who was running in the top 6 earlier on, does gain back a place though on the 42, and again, very early on the power. It's all going on at the moment for Marvin Amont. And he gets back ahead of Seb Herbio, but still behind Nick Shermans as he goes for Shermans as well. And he's escalating back up the field, but Shermans had good enough acceleration there.
Basically we had just coming on the screen that Amans versus the Wolf would be investigated after the race, and just as we got that message, sadly Mans got into more trouble. Van Buel getting closer and closer, 3 seconds now the gap, with less than 3 minutes left. So I think he best to look in his mirrors, because Warner is coming for his position. But what can we say about this guy? I mean, probably one of the best performances by a silver driver since a couple of seasons ago, when I think it was Daniel McCauley who, as a silver driver, was more often than not fighting for race wins or podiums.
Yeah, if it weren't for Van Genexen, he probably would have won a few races that season with Macaulay. Unfortunately, not part of the series anymore. Not quite sure. I think it may have been with the day change. Of course, he used to be on a Thursday this series. Feels like a while ago. Literally was like a year ago, though. Even less than that. But yeah, on a Wednesday. Now, of course, on the Thursday, though, you do have the Development League. As we see side by side, we'll go back onto that in a second. Marshall dropped behind McConville. Up 16 places now is John McConville. A lot of places gained.
Let's say that they passed each other a couple of times in this first portion of this lap. Let's see it once again. The event viewer counted 6 overtakes between the pair of them, and of course all the side-by-side running certainly helped that count, but still super exciting racing between the pair of them. In the end is John McConville who gets in front, as the white flag is in the air for Kevin van der Slick, as he looks to bring home another victory for his team. Of course, correct me if I'm wrong, he's the one in Rev Match that is paired with, because each team is a 2-driver team, then you have the different teams, but because Rev Match, for example, have plenty of cars, but he is the teammate of of Martin Faluzon for Rev Match Esports UGX. So this particular team, and of course Rev Match as a whole, will keep their winning streak. Certainly the best way to continue despite the absence of the championship leader. This will not hurt him, of course, because we have drop rounds, two of them, and so this will not hurt Martin one bit. So looks like Rev Match will be popping the champagne regardless. Van Buell and Warner are still arguing over second place. And let's see who gets it.
Just 3/10 of a second between the two of them. Warner notes that there's no point in staying behind his rival any longer. May as well go for the move, seeing that they're not going to catch up to the race leader. Seemingly, that pit stop may have just been decisive. Van Buell and Warner, along with Clayson's earlier on and Metherall as well. Were they all faster than this man? It's unclear, but no doubt he was the fastest in qualifying, and he's done absolutely everything to defend that position all the way to the checker flag. Kevin van der Slik for Rev Match Esports wins at Imola, and that is a brilliant win for him. His first of the season, his first in this series. And you wouldn't know that it was his first because that was a very experienced drive. Jeremy Hassel's his best result in this championship, finishes in 4th place, top of the silver drivers. And top of the bronze drivers is it Ben Llewellyn, who has been running in 2nd place in that category for much of the race. He is the leader out of the bronze drivers, though, it seems. And he is ahead of Rob Thiessen at the moment. Any other battles going on across the line? Sherman's rounding out the top 11 by the way. And we've also got this one, McConville versus Marshall, 14th and 15th. McConville up 17 places. Brilliant drive from him, which might keep him mathematically in the Silver Class Championship. Not quite sure. He gained a couple of places right at the end there, in fact, on that last lap. As here comes Ben Llewellyn, wins out of the bronze drivers. Congratulations to him. Might be his first bronze class win of the season. So really impressive there. Issues for Marvin Amons, who I think has picked up a penalty across the line because he crossed the line 37 seconds off the lead. However, he is still falling down the order as we speak. And I wonder if he's picked up a penalty for that, or has he towed back to the pits? We may need a replay after a pretty chaotic final few laps for Amons. And this is what happened then. So this is the Wolf just ahead, along with Moons. Apologies. This is Moons behind. Amons behind the Wolf. What goes off the circuit? Is it a disqualification? No? Oh, this was quite a bit earlier on in the race, I believe.
Who?
Yeah, this was the penultimate lap. The third to final lap. We need to go to lap 35, I believe, is where he maybe got some kind of issue. He did get disqualified, by the way, Mons. Sorry about that. So he got 28 incidents. I am the person who can see the incidents, so I really should have seen that. So he was the only driver out of the entire field to get disqualified.
This is the final lap, so let's see. Maybe it should be here. I would imagine. As we try to uncover this mystery.
Would have been a 4x. So I was on 24 instants before this. And spoke quite aware that he doesn't want to get a 1x. Oh, I mean, that if that's a 4x, that is harsh, to be fair. I mean, a little bit of door-to-door contact there, and 2 corners away from the checker flag. He gets disqualified. Great shame for him because he was, I mean, remember, he was fighting with Jeremy Hessels in the early stages. Had a lot of going against him there, and that is a very disappointing end to his day. But we can go through the final results. And it's Kevin van der Slik, his first win of the season. Keeps up Rev Match Esports 100% record this season. That's now 10 wins out of 10. Ruben van Buell, catching near the end, took the lead for a couple of laps. Couldn't hang on to it, though, once he got the lead. And in the end, that slow pit stop for him really lets him down 2.5 seconds off. Chris Warner constantly stuck behind other drivers, really, Chris Warner, but still a good recovery from falling down to sixth in the early stage. Jeremy Hessel's his best result in the series finishes in fourth, up 5 places from his start. Bod Boland, a driver who we barely talked about because he was by himself for much of the race, 7 seconds behind Hessel's, 9 seconds ahead of the Tej, but brilliant drive from Boland. That's really going to help his championship position. Matthias de Tej gains 26 places to finish in sixth place overall. Ingmar Andersson finishes second out of the silver drivers in seventh. Then it was Tom Mettle, who fought for the lead in the early stages as well. Stephen De Wolf finishes in ninth place, and Ronald Means rounds out the top 10. Each of those drivers, a lot of narratives. Also narratives for Nick Sherman. Seb Herber got a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. What could have been for him if it weren't for that? And then Anton Dupin finished in 13th. Behind that was John McConville, Ewan Marshall, Rover Verke, Ben Llewellyn, top of the bronze drivers, by the way. Rob Thiessen and William Bush rounding out the podium there. Neil Coop, who crashed, of course. There was Lee Woodburn, Ben Thanes, Bram Van Utsven, Dries Moujdi, James Hobden, and then one lap down and disqualified was Marvin Amons. Also one lap down was Ryan Walker and Theisberg, and then the retirees were Pim Bow, Kevin Boland, Stephen Castrop, PJ Claysons, and Dion Phillips. Robin Monster and Danny Craze. But with Match Racing, didn't take the start. What a race that was. I mean, we keep on saying, oh, it's a really good race, that. Better than all the ones people say. But genuinely, that was a really good race. Marco, we have to decide who the driver of the day is. If you've got anyone who you feel should be driver of the day, let me know. Otherwise, I'll make the decision.
I think we both agree on who is going to be driver of the day. At least my idea is to give it to Jeremy Hassels. I don't know about you.
Jeremy Hassels, there you go, top of the silver drivers. Fourth place overall. Congratulations to him. Of course, there were so many drivers we could have given it to, but Jeremy Hassels certainly a deserved driver there. And I was about to say we can have a chat with him now. We can't have a chat with him, but we can have a chat with other drivers. And this driver won the race. Congratulations, Kevin, for that race win, your first race win of the season. But that looked very tricky. They were queuing behind you in the opening stages, and then you had to do almost a half the race pretty much with damage.
Oh yeah, it was. It's a really tricky corner when you go up the hill, uh, in braking because you don't braking straight. I lost the car in like the third or fourth lap, so I went over the bumps. So my floor was damaged from lap four, and then there was a little accident. I'm not sure what happened because I was just looking straight forward, and I thought I'd give him enough space, and suddenly on the exit of the corner, uh, the car hit me, and then I saw the damage on my front body, and I was hoping there was nothing major, but I missed just a little bit straight line speed, but that's it. Nothing really like chassis wise broken. So I was like, just concentrate and try my best to keep those guys behind me and defend like like it's my last race.
Absolutely. And you were overtaken once, though, by Ruben Van Buell. Van Buell looks very quick at the time, managed to get past you, but then after that, you seem to have a upturn in pace, or did he just struggle in the lead, or was it the slipstream which was very dependent? It seemed odd that he seemed a bit faster before he overtook you, and then once he did overtake you, you were able to get him back very quickly.
Oh yeah, because driving behind someone, you can just when the guy in front of you brakes, you brake the same or maybe a meter before that, because the straight line speed of mine was not really good. But once he passed me, I knew I was faster in the cornering section, so I think the whole section of that, but the last one, and just hoping for a mistake because he went wide in like three or four corners, and I was like, all right, just next time you go in wide, I'm gonna overtake you. And I think he was a little uh, outbraked himself in the chicane at the end with the high bumps, and that's why I saw my chance to overtake him once, and yeah, actually drove. after that, no mistakes. So yeah, really proud of that.
Absolutely. And during the pit stops, you're all of a sudden, for 4.5 seconds, even 5 seconds, I think, ahead of the rest of the field. And then after that, it was just about managing that gap. How much were you pushing in those closing stages? Because the gap was coming down, but it never looked as though your lead was in jeopardy.
No, because in the whole race, I was managing my fuel. Hopefully, I get another lap in, and I made it. Because the guys in behind me, they had the pit earlier, so that's yeah, that was a good job actually for fuel saving. And after the pit stop, I had enough fuel for full power again. And then actually, the tires was it was hot, so the tires were burning. And actually, yeah, I just looked at my relatives, and if he came a little close, I just hit the pedal a little harder. But after, those guys were fighting as well, so I was managing my pace on the guys behind me, and drove it home.
Well, congratulations on your first win in this series, I believe, and first win of the season, certainly. Before we let you go, Kevin, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, definitely the team as well. Maarten, he's sick right now, so hopefully he'll be better for next week. And yeah, the sponsors, UGX, Scaleworks, Uitert, and everyone who's involved in this team. And yeah, looking forward for the next one. Of course, you guys for hosting it as well. And yeah, that's it. Looking
Okay.
forward for next week.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Kevin, once again, and yeah, look forward to next week.
Thank you. Bye bye.
So that was your race winner, Kevin van der Slik for Rev Match Esports. We've got that team name down to a T. Marco, who are we going to have a chat with next?
We are going to have a chat with a driver that had a very, very, very eventful race. Should be with us, Marvin Juliamans. Hello, Marvin. Or maybe not. So we'll give him a 10 count.
Does have. Oh, here we go.
I'm
Here
there.
he
I'm
is.
there.
Here he is. He answered the 10th count. Hello, Marvin. And first of all, nice to
Hello.
have you. Nice to have you back in competition with us.
Yeah. Well. Thank you, guys. Good to be here again. Yeah. As I said a few weeks ago, I didn't like it here at SRE. But yeah, I give it a go again. But it was not. It was not my evening, I think.
Yeah, you had a chaotic race, to say the least.
Yes. Some people they are defending, but it's ridiculous how they are defending. It's totally nonsense to do it like that way. But yeah, two corners before the end, I got a disqualification, so didn't finish at all.
Um, how did you find coming back into the car after all this time away from racing in the championship?
Well, it's tough to be back. I did only a few laps at Monday in the official practice. Today I did an hour of practice in the Mercedes. Um, yeah, the weather was kind of hot, so I did not expect that the tires were so much done at the end of the race. They're completely gone.
Now I know it's maybe a bit early, and of course the competition is still just finished. So do you plan on attending next week in Barcelona?
Well, we will see it by the days. I think so. Maybe yes, because I like racing. But yeah, if it's on this way, it goes this night. Yeah, maybe I will skip it. But I like to race, and I like to race fair with everyone. So yeah, let's hope. I will give it in the days. I will say if I'm going to race, yes or no.
It was nice to have you here, Marvin. And before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank the team. Everyone who drive still driving, and uh, Kevin, of course, he win today, so a big shout out to him. Um, and all our sponsors, UGX, RB Skill Works, Uitert, everyone. And
Thank
you
you.
guys for
Thanks.
broadcasting.
Thanks, man. Nice to have you back, and we will catch you next week either on the track or in the race chat on YouTube.
Yes, definitely. See you next week.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
And that was Marvin Amons. Nice to have him back. And now we have a couple of more interviews left. Sam, who are we going to pick?
We are going to have a chat. We'll have a chat next with Bod Boland. He had a terrific result today, 18th to 5th. And Bod, I mean, if you do watch back this broadcast, you won't see a whole lot of yourself on there because it was just a very quietly going about your business race. In the end, a little bit by yourself near the end, but that start really proved very, very important.
Yeah, evening guys. Uh, Nightmare. Something went pop with iRacing at the end of practice, start of qualifying. I didn't get back into the qualifying until there was about 17 and a half minutes gone. I only had 2.5 minutes, so it was a warm up lap and then a qualifier. But I just had to make sure I got a lap in. It was better to start from 15th to 20th rather than 35th.
Yeah, absolutely. And just take us through your first couple of laps because it got a bit hairy just up ahead of you, but your car seemed to stay completely clean.
Yeah, I was just concentrating on trying to stay clean. Really, there was a few lads dicing with each other right in front of me. They tripped each other up, and I think I jumped 3 or 4 on the first lap. Picked another couple off on the second lap, and then just got my head down. Um, had a bit of trouble getting past Stephen DeWolf. He makes his car very wide, but finally got past him and got to the pits really. And then I thought I'd have a go at Jeremy. Was it Jeremy Hessels that was ahead of me? I thought I had the pace to catch him, and then 2 or 3 corners later, I had big slides, so I just settled for where I was. Really, I couldn't believe I was so high. There must have been a bit of fun and games up ahead of me.
Yeah, there was well, certainly a lot of entertainment up ahead. Is there an element of you which is slightly frustrated that maybe if it weren't for that qualifying issues that you could have perhaps got a podium out of today?
Who knows? I think I had really good pace early on in the race, but once I come out after the pits, the tyres were gone. Like I say, I thought I might have been able to reel Jeremy in, and 2 or 3 corners later, I thought, no, sack that. I'm just going to crash. So I'd have definitely settled for fifth at the start of the race, no matter where I started.
Yeah.
So I just brought it home.
Yeah, it's an absolutely
good race, though. Good race.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a fantastic result. And next week we head to Barcelona, quite a new circuit to iRacing. Have you got any experience driving around there?
No, not sure how to spell it. Never mind drive it. I haven't been on track at all. But it's the same for everyone. It's a new track, so looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Well, we wish you the best of luck for that one, Bod. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, thanks to you guys at Apex. Really good broadcasters, as it always is. My new teammates at Red Match, they've made me feel very welcome. My Dutch isn't too good at the moment, but it's not too bad. Also, a shout out to the Meraki lads. I didn't fall out with anyone. I just had to change something for me. Nothing to do with them. And look forward to next week. Well done to Kevin as well for the win tonight. I know Martin wasn't here, but you've still got to drive the car.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Bod. And once again, best of luck for next week.
Yeah, okay, guys, take care.
So that was Bod Boland for Rev Match Esports, finishing in 5th place today. 4th place out of the Gold Drivers. Marco, one last interview.
Absolutely. Last but certainly not least, with us in the interview booth is going to be the second place driver in the silver class. Another driver for Rev Match who is really taking all of the interview spots for tonight. Hello, Ingemar Andersson.
Hello, good evening.
So, in the end, second place for you in silver. I have to say that you always seem to be a very regular performer, always been up there in your class. What was missing today that prevented you from getting closer to Jeremy for the class win?
My quali was, yeah, not even there. Like we said, I started 17th. So yeah, in the beginning there was a lot of yeah, pulling and like rubbing, but I was like, I'm staying off it. And then yeah, I went like 10 laps behind Stephen the Wolf. He was like defending, but just driving in the middle of the track. And as everyone knows, on a straight line, the Audi, even in slipstream, no no option to pass. So it is really hard to get along and be fast and do an overtake in a straight line. But the the um, the ugly thing about this track, there are not a lot of overtaking opportunities inside the corners, or you need to make a dive bomb, and I'm not the kind of driver that dive bomb people. And I was like, yeah, we will see what it brings. Everything was great. The pit stop was great, and I had just had a really good pace in the race. Unfortunately, for my qualifying, there would be more. I think like 2 or 3 places was more to gain because my pace was really well.
And speaking of this, are you concerned about next week? Because Barcelona is really a track that has similar characteristics. Maybe one saving grace is that the front stretch is really long and presents a decent opportunity. But apart from that, I think it's going to be another track where passing will be at a premium.
Yeah, I but the thing is at Barcelona, the especially the last chicanes before entering the straight, it's like if you have a good run outside of the chicane and you can have the slipstream, you can follow the other cars, not overtaking them because there's not enough speed. I think the Audi tops out at 272, 273 maybe in slipstream. Yeah, and the Merc and the Ferrari are running like 280 easily. So yeah, there is nothing to gain there, but the track is very wide and there are a lot more opportunities to overtake. But I'm not a big fan of the track, but we will see how it goes because normally I my quali pace is not the best, but my race pace is really good and really consistent. That's where I make the difference in the race.
Season is almost over. Of course, your debut season in the championship. How are you finding yourself so far in the championship?
I'm finding myself pretty okay in the championship. I'm like second now after Nick Schurmans. He's really well. He drives really well. He's also really fast. He's also in the Audi, so our performance is almost equal. We get away with it as much as it can. But yeah, he had a not the best performance today. I think maybe because the track was too hot and he pushed too much. I don't know for sure, but he had a really nice pace until half race. He dropped like massively. Unfortunately for him, because I would like to race him more. But yeah, I'm happy that I'm like uh, seventh in general and second in silver class. So I'm very happy to be a part of this for now. We will see next week.
Thank you, man. And before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, the ref match UGX, the SRW league for setting it up, and you guys for streaming. And a small note, I would be happy that the season is over because I need a rest every Wednesday. I cannot bring all the energy every Wednesday to the races.
Yeah, especially in a high intensity championship like this. In fact, I always feel like it's strange that in a league this competitive you race every week and it's 1 hour of racing, but all the I know you guys start practicing from Thursdays, so basically as soon as this race is
Yeah.
over. And it's like a constant state of
to
practicing
be
or
f-
racing and setup,
Mhm,
etc.
mhm. Exactly. To be fair, practicing is just a Monday and maybe a session extra, but that's it. I don't practice that much. I don't drive that much. But we will see. I'm more like an endurance guy racer because you can see on my pace is steady. and it's okay. So we will see what it brings. I'm a part of the SRW endurance. I think I'm going to be more like stewarding the races, not driving, because I'm reserve driver in the 911 Porsche. So we will see what it brings.
Thank you very much, Ingemar, and we will catch you hopefully next week.
Yeah, see you. Thank you guys.
That was Ingemar Andersson, second in the silver class. And on that note, we are about to close the broadcast. Of course, don't forget the next few broadcasts coming on from us on the iRacing Esports Network. Next one will be tomorrow at 8:15 GMT. The time has changed now. We will have the ARLTC Winter Series, and of course on Friday back on our regular channel Apex Racing TV, you will find IndyCar racing from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, aka Mosport, because I'm an old and boring kind of person. That will be at 20 GMT, the official series. Saturday we will have the official iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship, also at 8 GMT, if I'm not mistaken. And then Sunday will be, as per usual, the day of the Aussie Mixed and Fixed Championship early in the European morning. So plenty to look forward to. And as per usual, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe our videos both here on the Racing Esports Network and on our channel Apex Racing TV. And of course, you can follow us wherever you want on Facebook, on Twitch, on Instagram. We have personal Twitter accounts, and most importantly, we have plenty of stuff coming up. Ingemar was talking about the Enduro League. We might have some news on that, and of course, thanks to Pascal Iglin and his team at stkgaming.co.uk for providing us with this beautiful software that you can purchase and of course use for your own broadcasting works. And of course you get a plus of talking to me because I'm a member of the technical service assistance for STK Gaming. So what more do you want?
Exactly. Unfortunately, I think we've lost about 80% of people who are going to sign up, unfortunately, with that, Marque. So thanks a lot for that. Hey, anyway, no, not too bad. So yeah, that's pretty much us over for the broadcast. Hopefully that you've enjoyed this race. We certainly have in the commentary box. It was absolutely great fun watching that battle for the lead and all the battles down the order. And of course, as Mike was saying, check out the broadcast coming up on the iRacing Esports Network and on Apex Racing TV. And of course, come back next week for round 11 of the Simracersworld GT Series at Barcelona, the penultimate round of the season. But for now, from me and from Marco, we'll say goodbye, and we'll see you next.